In a small city filled with concrete and dreams that rarely took flight, Ebony Thompson lived a life of quiet perseverance. Born into a humble family in a low-income neighborhood, Ebony grew up with little more than determination and a brilliant mind that shone in spite of her difficult circumstances. Every day, the streets echoed with the sound of city life and the voices of those who struggled to rise above their challenges. Amid the busy thoroughfares and crowded sidewalks, Ebony carried herself with a dignity that belied the hardships she faced. From an early age, Ebony discovered that she possessed an extraordinary gift for numbers. Even when other children played games in the dusty courtyards, she found solace in puzzles and mathematical problems. In her modest home, where a single room served as both living space and study, she would spend hours poring over worn textbooks and scribbling equations on scraps of paper. Despite the constant hum of uncertainty about the future, Ebony nurtured a secret hope that one day her talent would open doors to a better life. Life, however, was not generous to those born into poverty. Ebony attended a local public school that struggled with limited resources and overcrowded classrooms. Her teachers did not always notice the quiet brilliance that lay behind her shy smile. Often overlooked by the administration, she was forced to work extra hours after school to help support her family. She took on odd jobs around the neighborhood, from cleaning local shops to delivering newspapers in the early morning hours. Although these responsibilities weighed heavily on her, Ebony never allowed them to dampen her passion for learning. One crisp autumn day, as Ebony made her way home from a long shift at a corner store, she noticed a flyer posted on a telephone pole. The flyer announced a mathematics contest open to students from all over the city. The contest promised a scholarship to a prestigious academy for the winner. Ebony's heart raced at the possibility. Though she had never dared dream of attending an elite institution, the idea of proving herself through her mathematical talent stirred a fire inside her. That evening, under the dim light of a flickering street lamp, Ebony sat at her small desk and worked on practice problems until the early hours of the morning. Her determination was absolute. She would enter the contest and show the world the power of her mind. The day of the contest arrived with the chill of winter in the air. Ebony joined a long line of hopeful participants outside the community center that would host the competition. Dressed in a faded jacket and a pair of worn-out sneakers, she felt both nervous and excited. Inside the crowded hall, the air was thick with anticipation and the murmur of anxious voices. Ebony found a quiet corner and took a deep breath, recalling the countless hours she had spent solving problems by the light of a single candle in her small room. With a firm grip on her pencil, she began the test. For hours, Ebony tackled each question with a focused intensity that left even some of the other competitors in awe. Her pencil moved swiftly across the paper as she unraveled complex equations and solved intricate puzzles that had stumped many of her peers. When the contest ended, she left the hall with little fanfare, her face a mask of calm determination. Little did she know that her performance would soon ripple far beyond the walls of the community center. In the days that followed, the contest results spread through the city like wildfire. Ebony had not only solved the problems with remarkable speed and accuracy, but had also achieved the highest score of all participants. The news reached the ears of Dr. Gregory Martin, a mathematics professor at the renowned Hamilton Institute of Technology. Dr. Martin was known for his sharp intellect and his ability to spot raw talent where others saw only potential. Intrigued by the extraordinary results, he decided to visit the contest venue to meet the mysterious prodigy. At a modest ceremony held in the town hall, Dr. Martin took to the stage to announce the winner of the contest. As he began speaking, his voice resonated with genuine admiration. He described the challenges of the contest and how none of the established students had come close to matching the brilliance of the unknown competitor. When his eyes met Ebony's, a spark of recognition passed between them. Dr. Martin called her name aloud, inviting her to come forward. The room fell silent as Ebony, timid yet proud, stepped forward to accept the award and the scholarship that came with it. That moment was a turning point in Ebony's life. With the scholarship in hand, she soon found herself at the prestigious Hamilton Institute of Technology. The transition was anything but easy. At the institute, the halls were filled with students who had grown up in comfort and had access to resources that Ebony could only have dreamed of. She struggled initially to keep up with the pace of lectures and the volume of advanced coursework. Yet, every challenge only served to fuel her determination. Late nights in the vast, echoing library became a regular part of her life. There, she would pore over advanced mathematical texts and work through problems that stretched her mind to its limits. Slowly, with each passing day, she began to bridge the gap between her modest beginnings and the world of academic excellence. While at the institute, Ebony encountered a diverse array of characters who would shape her journey. There was Daniel Roberts, a fellow student with a quiet, introspective nature who quickly became her closest friend. Daniel shared her passion for mathematics and often spent hours discussing theories and problem-solving techniques with her in the study halls. Their friendship blossomed into a deep bond of mutual respect and understanding, built upon countless late-night discussions and shared dreams of making a difference in the world through knowledge. Among the professors, one figure stood out for Ebony in particular, Dr. Catherine Ellis. A warm and compassionate mentor, Dr. Ellis recognized the immense potential in Ebony and took her under her wing. Dr. Ellis recalled her own struggles as a student and was determined to ensure that Ebony would never feel isolated or overwhelmed. She arranged extra tutoring sessions and often invited Ebony to participate in research projects that challenged her to think beyond textbook problems. Under Dr. Ellis's guidance, Ebony's confidence grew, and she began to believe in the possibility of a future where her talents could lead her to influence positive change. Despite the academic pressures, Ebony remained grounded in the values she had learned in her youth. She often thought back to her family and her community in the small neighborhood where resources were scarce but love was abundant. She remembered the long evenings spent with her mother, who had instilled in her a deep sense of resilience and hope. Her mother's gentle words and unwavering belief in Ebony's abilities echoed in her mind during moments of self-doubt. Even as she navigated the hallowed halls of the Hamilton Institute, Ebony carried with her the spirit of her humble beginnings. However, life at the Institute was not free of conflict. Ebony soon found herself entangled in social dynamics that tested her character and her resolve. Some of her peers, accustomed to privilege and status, looked down on her for her modest background. They whispered behind closed doors and questioned her place among them. At times, Ebony felt the sting of discrimination, the very prejudice she had grown up fighting against. There were moments when she wished she could disappear, when the pressure of fitting into an unfamiliar world seemed too overwhelming. Yet each time, she found strength in her work and solace in the friendships she had forged. Daniel and Dr. Ellis were constant reminders that true talent and worth came from within, not from the circumstances of one's birth. Outside of the rigorous academic environment, Ebony sought to find balance in her life. She discovered a passion for music and poetry, often spending quiet evenings in a small campus coffee house, where local artists performed and students gathered to share their stories. These gatherings became a refuge for Ebony, a place where she could express herself freely and connect with others who understood the struggles of trying to rise above adversity. It was at one of these events that she met Marcus Bell, a young man with a passion for social justice and community activism. Marcus was deeply involved in efforts to improve education and economic opportunities for underprivileged youth. His infectious enthusiasm and unwavering commitment to change resonated with Ebony, and the two soon became partners in both activism and friendship. As time passed, Ebony began to attract attention not only for her academic brilliance, but also for her thoughtful insights into issues of social inequality. She started writing articles for the campus newspaper, articulating the challenges faced by students from underrepresented backgrounds and advocating for more inclusive policies. Her words, honest and unyielding, struck a chord with many. Even those who had once dismissed her began to listen when she spoke about the need for fairness and equal opportunity. Her writing became a powerful tool for change, inspiring others to question the status quo and demand a more just society. One day, as Ebony was preparing for an important presentation in her advanced mathematics class, an unexpected opportunity arose. Dr. Ellis approached her with a proposal to join a research team working on a complex problem that had stumped experts for months. The project focused on finding innovative solutions to challenges in computational mathematics was both ambitious and daunting. Dr. Ellis believed that Ebony's unique perspective, honed through years of overcoming adversity, could provide the breakthrough that the team desperately needed. Excited yet apprehensive, Ebony agreed to join the team, knowing that the work would push her to the limits of her abilities. In the weeks that followed, Ebony immersed herself in the research with a relentless intensity. Late nights in the lab and long hours in the computer center became the norm. She worked tirelessly, fueled by the memory of every struggle she had ever faced and the promise of a future where her efforts would make a difference. Her colleagues marveled at her ability to see patterns where others saw chaos, and her innovative ideas soon began to reshape the direction of the project. Every time she solved a particularly challenging equation or discovered a new method, she felt a surge of pride and hope that she was finally being recognized for her true potential. Yet, even as Ebony advanced in her research, the challenges of her personal life continued to cast a long shadow. The pressures of academic excellence, combined with the lingering isolation from her past, sometimes overwhelmed her. There were days when the weight of expectations felt unbearable, when the memories of hardship and loss returned with a vengeance. In these moments, Ebony found solace in the quiet companionship of Marcus Bell and the supportive presence of her mentor, Dr. Ellis. They reminded her that every setback was merely a stepping stone on the path to greatness, and that true strength came from facing adversity head-on. One crisp winter morning, as snowflakes danced outside the tall windows of the Institute, Ebony received an invitation to speak at a regional conference on mathematics and social change. The conference, a gathering of scholars and activists from across the country, provided a platform for discussing how innovation and education could serve as catalysts for improving communities that had long been neglected. Ebony felt a mix of excitement and apprehension at the thought of sharing her story with a wider audience. This was not just an opportunity to showcase her mathematical prowess, but also a chance to speak about the struggles of growing up in poverty and the importance of uplifting others through education. At the conference, Ebony stood before a large audience in a grand auditorium. The bright lights and the expectant faces of the crowd made her heart pound, yet she drew strength from the knowledge that she was representing every young person who had ever been told that their dreams were too big. With a steady voice that carried the weight of her journey, she recounted her own path from the streets of her impoverished neighborhood to the esteemed halls of the Hamilton Institute of Technology. She spoke passionately about the transformative power of education and how the support of compassionate mentors had changed her life. Her words resonated deeply, stirring emotions in the audience and sparking a renewed commitment to fostering equality and opportunity. After the conference, Ebony was approached by several prominent figures in the field of mathematics and social policy. Among them was Dr. Martin Reed, a well-respected researcher who had dedicated his career to studying the intersection of education and social mobility. Dr. Reed was deeply moved by Ebony's speech and offered to collaborate with her on a project aimed at developing new strategies to support underrepresented students in advanced mathematics. Ebony gladly accepted the offer, realizing that her journey was no longer just about her own success, but about creating a legacy that could empower future generations. In the months that followed, Ebony balanced her rigorous research with her growing responsibilities as an advocate for social change. She continued to excel academically, contributing original insights to her field and publishing articles that challenged conventional wisdom. At the same time, she worked closely with community organizations to develop tutoring programs and scholarship initiatives for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Her efforts began to transform the landscape of education in her city, inspiring a wave of optimism among those who had long been marginalized. Despite the many triumphs, Ebony also faced moments of deep personal sorrow. The memories of her difficult childhood and the struggles of her early years would sometimes return, casting a shadow over her accomplishments. In these times, she turned to Marcus Bell and Dr. Ellis, who provided unwavering support and reminded her of the strength that lay within her. Their encouragement helped her to confront her past, heal old wounds, and find a renewed sense of purpose. Ebony learned that vulnerability was not a sign of weakness, but a necessary step on the path to true self-discovery. As the years went by, Ebony's reputation grew far beyond the borders of her city. She became a symbol of hope and resilience for countless individuals who had faced similar challenges. Her story was featured in local newspapers and national magazines, and she was invited to speak at universities and public events across the country. Each time she spoke, she reminded her listeners that no matter where one came from, the power to change the world lay within the mind and the heart. Her message was simple yet profound. Education could break the chains of poverty, and with determination and compassion, every obstacle could be overcome. One summer evening, as the city basked in the warm glow of twilight, Ebony found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her to this point. Sitting on a bench in a quiet park near the Institute, she watched as families gathered and children played, their laughter mingling with the soft rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. In that peaceful moment, she thought back to the long, lonely nights spent under a flickering lamp in her small room, the countless hours of hard work and sacrifice that had defined her early years. A sense of gratitude filled her heart for every challenge that had tested her resolve and every mentor who had believed in her potential. Yet, the path ahead was not without further trials. As Ebony prepared for her final year at the Institute, she encountered a new obstacle that threatened to undermine all her hard-earned progress. A rival group of students, threatened by her rapid rise and extraordinary intellect, began to spread rumors and create obstacles in her path. They questioned her legitimacy, suggesting that her success was the product of luck rather than talent. The whispers grew louder in lecture halls and dormitory corridors, and even some professors, swayed by the prejudice of the past, began to doubt her abilities. For a time, Ebony felt the sting of these baseless accusations, her confidence shaken by the weight of doubt cast upon her. It was during this turbulent period that Marcus Bell, ever the steadfast friend, reminded her of all she had achieved and the brilliance that shone through every challenge. "Do not let the voices of those who fear change dim your light," he told her gently one evening as they walked along the city streets. His words, filled with empathy and understanding, reignited the fire within her. With renewed determination, Ebony resolved to confront her detractors not with anger, but with the power of her intellect and the integrity of her character. In a decisive moment that would define her future, Ebony submitted a groundbreaking research paper that challenged long-held assumptions in the field of computational mathematics. The paper proposed innovative methods that not only solved complex equations with unprecedented speed, but also offered new insights into the nature of numerical patterns. When the paper was published in a leading academic journal, it sent shockwaves through the scholarly community. Even those who had doubted her began to acknowledge the depth and originality of her work. Invitations to collaborate on major projects poured in, and Ebony found herself at the center of a movement that sought to redefine what was possible in mathematics and technology. Amidst these academic triumphs, Ebony also navigated the delicate terrain of personal relationships. Her friendship with Marcus blossomed into a deep and abiding love, built on mutual respect and shared dreams. Together, they envisioned a future where their combined talents could uplift not only themselves, but their entire community. Marcus, with his gentle nature and unwavering support, became Ebony's rock in times of uncertainty, while Ebony inspired Marcus to pursue his own aspirations with renewed vigor. As their relationship deepened, the couple faced the everyday challenges of life outside academia. They lived in a modest apartment that bore the marks of their hard work and frugality, but it was filled with love, laughter, and the promise of a better tomorrow. Even as the pressures of research and public expectation mounted, they found moments of joy in simple pleasures. A home-cooked meal shared in the glow of a single lamp, a quiet walk through a city park, or an evening spent discussing the future over cups of steaming coffee. These moments reminded them that true success was not measured solely in accolades and discoveries, but in the strength of the bonds they forged along the way. Despite the many victories, Ebony remained ever mindful of her roots. She often returned to her old neighborhood to visit the community center where she had once taken refuge as a child. There, she established a tutoring program to help other young minds unlock their potential in mathematics and science. Ebony believed that by sharing her knowledge and experience, she could inspire others to rise above their circumstances and dream of a brighter future. The program grew steadily, attracting volunteers and donors who recognized the importance of nurturing talent in underprivileged areas. In time, the community center became a beacon of hope and learning, a place where children from all backgrounds could gather to explore the wonders of mathematics and technology. Yet, even as Ebony built a legacy of academic excellence and community empowerment, the challenges of her past continued to haunt her. Memories of long, lonely nights in her small room, of hunger and hardship, would sometimes creep into her thoughts, casting a shadow over her accomplishments. In these moments, she turned to Marcus and her mentors for solace, drawing strength from their unwavering belief in her. Their support reminded her that every struggle was a stepping stone to a greater destiny, and that the resilience forged in adversity was a source of unending power. As a final year at the Institute approached, Ebony faced her greatest challenge yet, a comprehensive final project that would determine her future in academia. The project required her to solve a set of complex equations that had stumped even the most seasoned mathematicians. It was a task that seemed almost insurmountable, yet Ebony approached it with the same quiet determination that had carried her through every obstacle in her life. For weeks, she isolated herself in a small study room, poring over equations and developing innovative methods to crack the problem. The hours turned into days, and the days into nights, as she worked tirelessly, fueled by a deep-seated desire to prove to the world that her brilliance was not a fluke, but the result of years of hard work and sacrifice. During this period of intense focus, Ebony experienced moments of doubt and exhaustion. The weight of expectations and the pressure to perform sometimes threatened to overwhelm her. Yet, in the quiet solitude of her study, she found inspiration in the memories of her mother and the lessons of resilience she had learned in the face of adversity. Every time her pencil faltered, she recalled the gentle encouragement of her mentors and the steadfast love of Marcus. Slowly, bit by bit, the complex equations began to unravel before her eyes. Her innovative approach revealed patterns and solutions that had eluded many others. In a breakthrough moment that filled her with a profound sense of accomplishment, Ebony solved the final equation, a feat that had taken some professors years to accomplish. The news of her achievement spread quickly, and soon Ebony found herself at the center of a media frenzy. Reporters and scholars alike marveled at the story of a poor black girl who had risen from humble beginnings to achieve academic greatness. Invitations to speak at conferences and symposiums poured in, and Ebony became a symbol of hope and inspiration for countless young people who had once been told that their dreams were impossible. With her future bright and the promise of endless possibilities ahead, Ebony began to contemplate the ways in which she could give back to the community that had shaped her. She envisioned a future where every child, regardless of their background, would have access to quality education and the opportunity to develop their talents. Working alongside Marcus, she launched a foundation dedicated to supporting underprivileged students in the fields of mathematics and science. The foundation organized tutoring sessions, provided scholarships, and established state-of-the-art learning centers in neighborhoods that had long been neglected. Ebony believed that by empowering others, she could help build a society where talent was nurtured and dreams were allowed to flourish. As Ebony's work with the foundation expanded, so too did her influence in academic circles and beyond. She was invited to collaborate on research projects with top mathematicians and scientists from around the world. Her groundbreaking methods in computational theory and numerical analysis were published in esteemed journals, and her name became synonymous with innovation and perseverance. Despite the accolades and recognition, Ebony remained humble, always remembering the long nights spent in a dimly lit room with nothing but her determination and a stack of worn textbooks to guide her. In the midst of her professional success, Ebony faced personal challenges as well. The intense pressures of her newfound fame and the responsibilities of running a foundation weighed heavily on her shoulders. There were moments when she questioned whether she could truly balance her academic pursuits with her commitment to her community. In these moments of vulnerability, Marcus would remind her of the strength that lay within her and the countless lives that she had already touched. Their relationship, built on mutual support and a shared vision for a better future, became a source of solace and inspiration. Together, they navigated the turbulent waters of success and hardship, always emerging stronger and more determined to make a difference. One autumn evening, as the leaves turned brilliant shades of gold and crimson, Ebony was invited to deliver the keynote address at a national conference on educational reform. The conference was attended by educators, policymakers, and community leaders from across the country, all eager to learn from her journey. Standing before a vast audience in a grand auditorium, Ebony recounted the trials and triumphs of her life with a raw honesty that moved many to tears. She spoke of the struggles she had faced growing up in poverty, the countless obstacles that had threatened to extinguish her dreams, and the power of resilience and hope to overcome even the darkest moments. Her words, filled with passion and conviction, resonated deeply with the audience, sparking a renewed commitment to building an educational system that valued every child and nurtured every talent. Following her speech, Ebony was approached by a young student named Malik, who had grown up in a neighborhood not unlike the one she had once known. With wide, hopeful eyes, Malik expressed his admiration for her journey and confided in her his own dreams of becoming a mathematician. Ebony listened intently, her heart swelling with compassion. She took Malik under her wing, mentoring him and encouraging him to pursue his passions despite the obstacles in his path. In that moment, Ebony realized that her true legacy was not solely defined by her academic achievements, but by the lives she inspired and the futures she helped shape. As the years rolled on, Ebony Thompson continued to break barriers and defy expectations. Her foundation grew into a nationwide network, providing resources and support to thousands of students from underserved communities. The impact of her work rippled across the country, leading to significant reforms in educational policy and greater opportunities for those who had long been marginalized. Ebony's journey, from a poor girl with a burning passion for mathematics to a celebrated academic and community leader, became a beacon of hope and a testament to the transformative power of education and perseverance. In quiet moments of reflection, Ebony often returned to the memory of her early years, a time of struggle and solitude, when the world had seemed determined to keep her down. She remembered the long nights spent solving problems by the light of a flickering lamp, the sacrifices made by her family to ensure that she had even a chance at learning, and the silent promise she had made to herself that she would rise above her circumstances. Every challenge, every setback, had served as a lesson, forging within her an unyielding spirit and a fierce determination to succeed. Her journey was not without heartache and loss. There were times when the weight of her responsibilities and the scars of her past threatened to overwhelm her. In those moments, she found solace in the enduring love of her friends and the support of those who believed in her vision. Marcus Bell remained a constant pillar of strength, his unwavering loyalty and gentle wisdom a reminder that even in the midst of adversity, one could find light. Together, they celebrated the small victories and weathered the inevitable storms that life brought their way. One day, as Ebony prepared to unveil a new initiative at one of her foundation's learning centers, she received a letter from a former teacher who had once doubted her abilities. The letter, written in a shaky but sincere hand, apologized for the harsh words of the past and expressed awe at how far she had come. Touched by the gesture, Ebony replied with a message of forgiveness and gratitude, acknowledging that every person she had encountered on her journey had played a part in shaping her into the woman she was today. It was a poignant reminder that even those who had once been unsupportive could grow and learn, and that the path to success was often paved with lessons in humility and empathy. As Ebony's story spread far and wide, she was invited to appear on television programs and talk shows, where she shared her insights on education, social justice, and the importance of nurturing young talent. Despite the attention, she remained true to her roots, always speaking from the heart and urging others to believe in their own potential. Her message was clear and unwavering. No matter where one came from, every mind had the power to change the world if only given the chance to flourish. In the later years of her career, Ebony began to focus on leaving a lasting legacy. She established scholarship funds, built community centers, and even initiated mentorship programs that paired struggling students with successful professionals who had overcome similar obstacles. Her work had a ripple effect, inspiring countless others to pursue their dreams and to strive for excellence despite the challenges they faced. The transformation of her city, once marred by inequality and neglect, stood as a testament to the power of determination and the belief that every individual deserved an opportunity to succeed. In the quiet of a late summer evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, Ebony sat on the porch of her modest home. Surrounded by the warmth of family and the gentle murmur of a community reborn, she reflected on the long journey that had brought her here. Every hardship, every moment of doubt, had been a stepping stone toward a brighter future. A future not only for herself, but for all those whose lives she had touched. Ebony's life was a living proof that the greatest power lay not in wealth or privilege, but in the strength of the human spirit and the courage to dream. Her journey from a poor girl with a brilliant mind to a celebrated leader in mathematics and education was a testament to the fact that true success was measured in the lives uplifted and the barriers shattered along the way. And so, as the gentle evening breeze carried with it the soft sounds of crickets and whispered promises of tomorrow, Ebony Thompson looked toward the future with hope and resolve. Her story continued to inspire generations, a beacon for all who dare to believe that with passion, perseverance, and the support of a loving community, even the most insurmountable obstacles could be overcome. In the light of a new dawn, her legacy shone bright, a lasting reminder that every mind holds the potential to illuminate the world.